Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new Elder Scrolls Online build video with me, Sherman. Today we are taking a look at the Honor Guard. This is an Argonian Dragonknight tank. This is the... I don't like to use the word, but this is basically what most people use for tanking in-game. And it's still one of the better tank setups for speed runs, stuff like if you're going for a competitive in-game build, this is what a lot of people use. And I see the reason for it. It's just not my playstyle. But if you like this build, hey, go for it. So let's get into it. So as you can see, we are an Argonian. We have a 20k magicka, 38k health, 20k stamina. Our stamina is slightly higher than our magicka. That way, if we get thrown orbs or spear shards, we're going to get stamina over magicka. Our recoveries aren't very good. Our weapon damage crit stuff, we don't need to worry about that. Our resistances, when we are buffed, are going to be, oops, wrong button, is going to be roughly about 24k. So on physical, 27 on that, and it's a good amount of resistances, good enough for in-game. So we do have Minor Slayer at all times because we are using Alkosh. We do have the Lord Mundostone, which gives us extra health. We are using Ebon Armory. We do have Tri-Stat Food, and Vampire is something you can use for this build. I would honestly advise against it for certain reasons. The fire damage that you take is a little excessive on the Argonian side, so not something I would suggest, but it's still something you can do. Looking at the gear, starting with the food, you are going to want to use Longfin Pasty and Melon Sauce with Tri-Stat Pots. Tri-Stat Pots is going to be the best thing for an Argonian. Going over the gear, we are running 2-piece Blood Spawn. All the gear is sturdy, so I don't need to explain that. Just make sure all the traits are sturdy. This way you get the greater block cost reduction for this. This is more of a block build than it is a shield using build. So shields is there, but you're not going to be spamming it that often. You will be utilizing it to heal yourself, but mostly you will be blocking with this build. You can pop a shield and also get Blood Spawn to happen. Blood Spawn will happen quite a bit with this build. Your resistances will be 30k on the spell resist. 32 actually. Close to 33 when Blood Spawn is active. And then the other stuff run in Ebon Armory, of course. Max health, healing taken, and then the 5 pieces increases max health by 1,118 for you and up to 11 members in 28 meters of you. Really good. This is something, I don't like to say it's really good, but a lot of people like to run this at in-game. This is where this set's going to shine, I guess. So next up, we do have jewelry. We are running the 5-piece Alkosh on the jewelry and the sword and board. Alkosh is really a in-game trial set that drops in Mauve Lorkosh. It's really easy to get if you run Lorkosh on normal mode. Get all the gear and just upgrade it to gold quality. It's easier to do it on normal, and then that way when you run it on veteran, you can get the skin and you don't have to like strain yourself with trying to get this stuff in gold on there, or hard mode. This does on the 2-piece critical. 3-piece gives you Minor Slayer, something you don't really need. Weapon damage for the 4-piece. The 2, 3, and 4-piece is not what you're after. You're after the 5-piece, which is when you activate a synergy, you send out a shockwave from your position that deals X amount of physical damage and an additional physical damage over 10 seconds. This reduces physical and spell resistance of any enemies hit by 3010 for 10 seconds. So you want to make sure that you're getting sent spear shards, orbs, any synergy you can activate within 10 seconds to keep this applied. A lot of times tanks, really good, like skilled tanks, can keep this up roughly about a 75%, which is good. There are some that I have seen that have been able to pull off 100, but that's few and far between, to be honest. So on the gear, though, you're going to want to run 3 Tri-Stats on the big pieces. On the smaller pieces, run Healthy. This way you get a maximized amount of health. On the jewelry, you do want to run 2 shield play and 1 shield cost, or not shield cost, 1 potion cost reduction. This way that your potions are up every 38 seconds. This makes it to where you can pop potions every 38 seconds. It makes it really good at keeping your resources maximized. And losing 1 block cost reduction isn't going to make a huge difference. We are running a sturdy shield with tri-stats, and then on the sword board, we are running infused Crusher and infused weakening. And you will be activating these both in succession. You will be trying to keep these up as much as possible. So remember, they only have a 5-second uptime before they need to be reapplied. So you do want to try and keep those up quite a bit, because the weakening and the Crusher definitely help to some degree. I'm not gonna say that they help like greatly. It just depends on if you're playing in competitive. If you're not, they're good to have, but they're not really super important. In fact, in this update, it would almost be better for one tank to run these on it with Torregs, and then another tank to run these run something else, because Torregs is going to supersede this. So it's not a really good option. It is, but it isn't. All right, moving on. I'm just saying. Going over the skills now, make sure you get all your class passives. You're going to want to make sure you unlock all your class passives. This way you have all those benefits that can be offered to you from those passives, and it can help out quite a bit. Sword and board passives, you want to get them all. Light armor, the top 3. Medium armor, you want top 2 on the bottom 1. And heavy armor, you want them all. On the world skills, I don't have Vampire unlocked, because I just unlocked it, and it would take me a while to level all this. But if you can level it up, get Supernatural Recovery, and you're going to want to get Undeath. That's the 2 you really want. Undeath, because reduces the damage taken by, I think it's like 66% or something, based on your missing health below 30%. So it really helps when you get below health to get damage reduction. So Fighters Guild, you don't really need anything except for the Intimidating Presence. Mages Guild, I would unlock all of it, because you are using Balance, and Balance sacrifices health in exchange for Magicka. So trying to get that health cost as reduced as much as possible is really important, and having all the passives here will help with that. Sigic Order, if you want, you can switch this build up a little. Take this off your bar, put Deep Thoughts on here instead. This way you have a damage mitigation, plus you have an extra 5k shield, which is really good. There was a nerf to DK shields, and I'll get to that in a minute. Undaunted, Inner Rage, and Energy Orb, you probably don't really, you're not going to be using this too often because it costs a lot of magic on you, but you can. I'm just saying. But you do want the Undaunted Command and Undaunted Metal. Nothing there. Racial, or yeah, there is support. Magicka Aid, and this is if you're going for magic recovery instead of max health. On the Mundus Stone, this way you can get a little bit extra Magicka return. And then on the racials, get all your racial passives, because Argonian's perfect for this. Medicinal use, and then on provisioning, you're going to want a Gourmand and Connoisseur. Alright, so now that we've done that, let's look at the skills. Starting with the main bar, we do have Pierce Armor. This is your main taunt. This also applies Major Fracture, Major Breach. Along with Crusher and Alkosh, you can pretty much keep up a 10k resistance debuff on your enemies, which is super powerful. So, really good for your group. Next up, we have Absorb Magic. This does... We mainly have this here because the shield's really powerful, and it gives us a heal, and it blocks any projectiles or magic cast at us. But it's a one-time cast, and you have to keep recasting it. It's good in those oh crap moments. Especially if you get hit by a lot of magic damage. The other nice thing about it is when it's slotted, you also increase your block, how much damage you can block, and how much it costs you to block. And you can increase it by 8% and reduce it by 8%. So this takes you up to a 38% on physical damage mitigation, and then on Magicka it's a little bit higher. So, and in the end you come out with like a 75% block cost or damage mitigation in the end. So So you do block a lot of damage with this build. Next up, we do have Green Dragon's Blood. This is a great heal, by the way. It's like probably the best heal that a tank can use. This heals you for 37% of your missing health. It also grants you major fortitude and major endurance and minor vitality. This increases health recovery, stamina recovery, and your healing received by 8%. So this is really powerful. On top of that, we do have Igneous Shield, which is a very powerful damage shield. Still not as powerful as it once was, but it is still good to use. As you can see, with 38k health, we get a 3,587 point damage shield for us and our allies. And that shield is increased for us by 150%. So we get almost a 9, well, it's not quite 9, it's like an 8.2k shield. So it's really nice. Next up, we have Balance. This is the Mage Guild ability. And this, for the trade-off of health, you get Magicka. On top of that, it gives you Major Ward, Major Resolve for 27 seconds. And then, in exchange for the healing done and the damage shield, you get 4 seconds where your shields and your health are reduced by 50%. So, you want to make sure you have this up first before you use this and this, because that way you don't lose out on any healing from the Igneous Shield. So make sure you have this up for a little bit, and don't try to spam this with this and this, or it's not going to work that well. Because if you have this up, like this up here, and then you cast your damage shields, you lose 4k of them. But if you do it with this, and then you do your heal, you get a lot more back. So as long as Balance isn't on that 4-second cooldown, you can keep it up pretty easy. So Balance is a really good one to use. Next up, we have Barrier on our bar. Now you can switch this out if you want for the Earth and Heart Magma Shell. This is even better for your group because it gives them a shield that increased by 116% of their max health, and gives you 3% damage reduction for, well, Ignite Molten Lava, limiting incoming damage by 3% of your max health and dealing X amount of flame damage. This makes you, it just gives you extra damage reduction, and when you're blocking and stuff, it's absurd. You're not going to be using this because you're going to be popping Warhorn, so, and you probably won't be using this, but the reason this is here is if you need it. It is a very powerful damage shield too. Next up, especially if you fire Igneous Shield off and then use Barrier, because this will make this shield strength a little bit stronger, because of the heal on this a little bit stronger because of the Major Mending. So moving on the back bar, we have Heroic Slash. This is here to apply Minor Maim. It also gives you Ultimate Gen, which is perfect for firing Warhorns and other abilities off. We also have Inner Rage. This is a ranged taunt. Really effective for in-game because, you know, got to range taunt those guys. It's also got a nice synergy on it when you can activate it. The synergy is a 38%, so it's kind of an iffy one. Next up, we have Unrelenting Grip. This is a pull, so you can pull your enemies to you. If an enemy can't be pulled, it will recharge you the cost, so it won't cost you anything. It also grants you Major Expedition for 4 seconds, which you don't really care about because you're not really moving a whole lot. Next up, you have Choking Talons. This is a nice CC. It grabs enemies, holds them in place. It doesn't last long. It also applies Minor Maim for 7 seconds, so it's a nice way to get Minor Maim on multiple targets. It's effective to a degree. Next up, we have Energy Orb. This is actually pretty good to have. It's a small heal, very small, but if you have your Igneous Shield up and then cast this, you can actually get better heals from it for the duration of your Igneous Shield, which is 6 seconds. So that's if it lasts that long. But it's a synergy, so this is really good because if you're playing with two tanks, you can send orbs to your other tank, and they can send you spear shards or orbs, or depending on the type of tank they are. So you're not stealing from everyone else. You guys are just trading back and forth. And then last but not least, we do have Aggressive Warhorn, which gives you max Magicka, Stamina, and Major Force. So I do want to show you this real quick. Oh, I don't have the Stamina. or the resources. Let me go get some resources real quick. I do want to show you what it looks like when you have Warhorn up on this. Now, we don't have a lot of health because of the changes that came with this update. So, I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't great, guys. Because we don't get the health bonus this update. You might want to see about taking a Warden tank or taking another DK or sorry, a DK and a Warden tank with you, or a Warden healer or a Warden group support. So, and you can have one Warden running in your group that's running Vigor, and he can still give out the 10% health. So it's just going to be a little bit. So here we go. When you have Warhorn up, you get up to 22k stamina and 21k magic, almost 22k, which is kind of nice. But that also applies to your allies for 30 seconds. So it's a nice thing. And in 30 seconds, you should be able to fire... no, well, not quite 30 seconds. It's about a minute, and you can fire Warhorn again. So it's about 45 seconds, actually. And the nice thing about this is when you're on your back bar, it's more about group support and stuff. Because you have talons, you have your chains to pull enemies, that kind of stuff. And then if you need it, you can always go to the front bar, keep balance up, pop an Igneous Shield, do this. You know, you don't want to be taunting stuff if you're on a single boss with another tank. So this kind of gives you a nice trade-off so you can do this stuff. And keep Minor Mayhem up and weakening on the enemies, while he's keeping Crusher up, so... I'm just looking at the new update, some of the things from the new update when they talked about how Weakening and Crusher will supersede, if somebody's using something like Torregs and Infused, it'll supersede your Crusher in that. So it's kind of like... it's kind of weird. Alright, so that's that. Let's move on to CP. Now, I did a lot of testing with CP, guys, and honestly found a few options that are really good, but this one right here is going to be one of the better ones for this particular build. So 81 into Ironclad, this reduces damage taken from direct damage by 24%. Direct damage is, you're going to get hit by quite a bit. So 31 into Thick Skin, this reduces your damage taken from damage over time effects by 13%. 56 into Hardy, 56 into Elemental Defender. Now you can take this down to 43. This will leave you some extra points. 43 and 43 is going to give you 10%, which isn't going to affect too much. The only reason why we have it at 12 and 12 is because this is 13, and when you get hit by a poison, bleed, flame damage, that kind of thing, it's a total of 25% damage reduction. So together, it's really good. These two are. This is already at 24%, so taking this down to 10% isn't going to change too much. You're going to lose 1% or 2%, I mean, of damage mitigation from direct damage, but it's not enough to make it huge. Not as big as this would. This is going to affect you more. So moving on over here, we have 6 in a heavy armor focus. This is just to help boost our physical resistance a little bit, because DKs get 3,000 extra spell resist. They don't get extra physical resist. And you don't have enough to put in a quick recovery to give you increased healing received, even though it's really good. The reason why I chose the Argonian is because they do get 5% healing received. So that, along with, if you take 20 points out of this, you put this up to 19, that'll give 5%, and put the rest into heavy armor focus. This should take it up to 1,000. So, and just to show what I mean by that, we'll go ahead and do it. Like I said, you want to take this down to 43. Oops. So you get that 10% still, and then you can take this up to 19, and then put the other 7 in here, and it's going to give you that. And that's another good trade-off right there, because you get that 5% extra healing received, which does apply really well with Green Dragon Blood, and it's 8% healing received and the other stuff. It's a nice setup. And then with Bastion, you still need that. Like this update, you're really going to want to start using this, especially as a tank, because it will boost your shields. And shields are really powerful this update. Moving on, 56 into Warlord, 9 into Sprinter. And Warlord reduces your break free cost by 20%. 9 into Sprinter, reducing sprint cost by 6%. 23 into Bashing Focus. We do bash, so we do have 2 block cost reduction and bash cost reduction. But having this also saves us a ton in resources and makes it really good for us. Moving on over here, we have 43 into Arcanist. You don't really need this. Honestly, you could take this out of here and put it all into Tenacity. It would probably help you a little bit more, especially on those heavy attack resource returns. And take this up to 80-something%. It's just because you don't need a lot of magic recovery because you are using balance to do that. And this you can take up, like I said, to roughly about 76 right there, so you get the 14%, and that leaves you 10 points you could put into other things. Like if you wanted to, you could put it in here. You could put it into this if you wanted to, so you can take that up to 66 on blocking cost, and that might be better. I haven't really tested that. 43 in the Blessed, and I know a lot of people take like this up to 100, but here's the thing. Argonians already get 5% healing done, and with the setup I have right now, the 5% from quick recovery, you have 15% from here, you have 10% in healing received, plus another 8%, plus another 8%, and you have a ton in healing received already. So healing done, you don't want to take it up too high. Like taking it up to 20% is not really worth it. I know it sounds crazy, but it's not. But having this in Elfborn, oops. Having the 56 in Elfborn does help with your critical heals from Green Dragon Blood, so that's really nice. And 43 in this, I only put this here because we do use some other abilities at times to help with group play, and this is gonna play into that really well. It also helps improve our magic damage just by a little bit. Moving on to the middle tree, we have 25 in the Physical Weapon Expert, 40 in the Master at Arms. This is just basically to unlock Reposit. If you want to put more in here so you can get Tactician, you can do that. And the way you would do that is take out of these two. The only reason why I put 23 in a Thaumaturge is because of one ability that we could use on our back bar every so often. It's not one you're going to keep. You might keep it back there. I don't know. It depends on how many Dragonknights you're running with. And then 40 in Precise Strikes. This is if you are running another ability. So some of the things you can change out with this build, which are really nice, is you can run the Alliance War, Resolving Vigor, and you can run this if you want on the back bar. You can also run Caltrops, Razor Caltrops on the back bar for some CC. It's a crappy CC now, but you could run these two. Another one, a class ability that you can run, is you can run Ash Cloud because it does have a heal now, which is really good, and it has reduced movement speed, so this can be really good for your group as an AoE tick heal, something just to bring a little bit more group support. You can also run Inhale, which is a really good ability, and then sometimes, in some cases, another good one to have is the Engulfing Flames on the back bar. This way you can increase damage to all fire damage by 10% for your group, if nobody else in your group is a DK. Because DKs aren't being widely used as magic DPS in game. So having this on the back bar, you can swap it out with like Choking Talons, Unrelenting Grip, the Energy Orb. Like these three abilities really, right here, are floater abilities because you don't use Unrelenting Grip all the time. It's good to have, but you don't really need it. And when you can swap it out for something like Engulfing Flames, or you can swap it out for like Ash Cloud, or the Exhale, that kind of thing, or Inhale, you can do that. Or if you even want, like I said, you can run Vigor on the back bar so you can give some extra health to your allies. So it's really up to you. I know Vigor costs stamina, but it's a nice thing to have. But yeah, that is it, guys. That's the Honor Guard. This is, like I said, this is what a lot of people play it in game. So I will show you guys this in action just so you guys can see for yourself. This thing has just insane survivability. Like, you don't really have to worry about too much. You just have to block a lot, and that's why we have such high block cost reduction and block cost reduction, but we also block a lot of damage. So, and like I said, there is other setups for this build if you wanted, when it comes to skills, when it comes to other things. The problem is that Vigor doesn't work as good on this. I'm not gonna lie. It's nice, especially if you pop Igneous Shield first and then do that. Vigor heals for a lot. Not a whole lot, but it heals and it helps. It helps your healers with an extra tick heal. So, and then Ash Cloud is really powerful, also as well. So here we are. I like to get those up right away. And like I said, you know, you have this on the back bar, Heroic Slash. And if you want, you can even, like, the nice thing is you can throw out your shield and then get a few heavy attacks in, get your stamina back up, use this, balance, hold block, use your damage shield again, heal, and then use balance a few times. Just take the hits. This way you get your magic back up. Do your Igneous Shield again, block, heal, and then heal again just to get your health up. And as you can see, you can do this forever, guys. No resource issues with this build, almost whatsoever. And if you are having troubles with your resources, you are an Argonian, so you can do this. I'm gonna go ahead and burn through my Magicka and burn through my stamina real quick, and then I'm gonna pop a pot. And with the Argonian, they get insane return on pots. So, and I want to show you this. So if you pop Igneous Shield and then you use Reviving Barrier, you heal your allies for like 2k for a little bit, and then it goes up to 1700, and it lasts a long time. Especially with Blood Spawn, and with Blood Spawn up, you go up to 33 spell and 31 physical. So you get insane mitigation with this. And I'm not spamming my stamina abilities because you will burn through those pretty quick. Like in all your Magicka stuff, you know, just showing you guys, like, you can burn through it pretty quick. But with the right stuff, couple heavy attacks here, pop Igneous Shield, get your barrier going, Green Dragon's Blood, Reviving Barrier, boom. And now you've got a shield, and you can sit there and heavy attack for a little while. And as long as you keep it and Igneous Shield together, you can get a 30k shield, which is really powerful. But this is mainly for trash fights and stuff like that you're going to use barrier. You know, unless you have your group like running Warhorn like crazy, which is something you can do as well. But barrier is really powerful this update. And that is the Honor Guard, guys. It's a really cool build. I mean, it's not something I prefer to play because I don't really care for this kind of playstyle on a tank. It's cool, don't get me wrong, but it's not my forte. So, But yeah, that's the Honor Guard. So if you guys like this build, hit that like button. If you guys want to see more builds by me, you can hit that subscribe button. Other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day. And this guy might see you in game. Bye.